Cultural competence in the workplace. 10 ways to engage with asylum seekers, refugees and migrants. In this video, we're going to look at some of the ways you can make your workplace more welcoming to all your service users. Number 1. Create an inclusive space. This means creating a space where everyone feels welcome. One effective and simple way to do this is by using symbols. For example, by having symbols from various religions visible in your workplace rather than just Catholic symbols, you can help people feel more welcome. You also see this type of use of symbols with breastfeeding, autism, and LGBT-friendly signs and symbols. You can also have signs in different languages. Displaying symbols that represent cultural diversity is a quick and simple way to make your service users feel welcome. 2. Be mindful and positive. Providers who are unhappy and stressed are more likely to engage with stereotyping and be less patient. So be aware of these factors when working with service users from cultural or linguistic backgrounds different from your own. When working with people from different cultures, there may be language or communication barriers, and overcoming these may require a little bit more effort, understanding, and patience. Remember, this is also true for your service user, who may be having to use their second or third language to communicate with you. 3. Establish a partnership approach. A partnership approach, as opposed to a hierarchical or top-down approach, is also useful. This can help you develop a common identity with your service user. You are both two people trying to find a solution together. This approach helps build rapport and trust, reduces bias, and creates empathy. A partnership approach also empowers the service user and gives them ownership of their care by giving them the power to make decisions with you. For example, rather than telling a service user, "You must be here at this time for an appointment," you might ask them, "Is there a time that would suit them?" Or give them a time and ask, "Is this okay?" Oftentimes, people may be constrained by obligations like taking care of their family or may be limited by public transport, so it might be difficult for them to come to an appointment at certain times. Depending on the scenario, you may offer someone a few different options. 4. Overcome communication barriers. Communication barriers can have a big impact on someone's access to services and their subsequent health outcomes, so it is important to try and make sure you do everything you can to make sure that these communication barriers are overcome. How can you do this? A. Check if an interpreter is required. Interpretation services are available through the HSE via the link in the HSE Social Inclusion website, link in description. B. Offer translated information services. The HSE has many leaflets in different languages, which you can find via the HSE Social Inclusion Translation Hub. C. Adjust your own language and avoid using jargon. Use plain English to ensure that your service user is getting the information they need. Remember, even common terms of phrase, such as "how's the form" and "it's bitter out," may make no sense to someone who has just recently moved here. Someone may even appear to understand and be nodding, but even then it is important to D. Check understanding. Communication barriers can be uncomfortable for service users and they may feign understanding to avoid embarrassment. So it is important to check with someone to make sure they have understood what you mean. This may mean going over information slowly, or if you're giving them a letter, going through the details in the letter with them and asking them if they have any questions at the end. E. Be mindful of your body language. Open body language can help people feel more welcome. This is important as your service user may be anxious or stressed, and you can help reduce this even just by smiling. 5. Individuation. Oftentimes, when we meet people who appear to be very different to ourselves, be it in culture, language, dress, or ethnicity, we may see only this element of a person. We may only see the part of them which is different to ourselves. This can lead us to defining that person only by how they are different rather than by who they are themselves and what their personality is like. For example, Rima wears a headscarf and is Muslim and is also very outgoing and has a great sense of humour. Focus on unique traits of the individual and be respectful of these. For example, the use of body language may differ from person to person. Let your client take the lead in these situations. 6. Understanding. If you require information regarding cultural background, ask for clarification from the individual. It's okay not to have all the answers. You can't realistically know everything about every cultural background. So if you are unsure of something, it is okay to ask. If you would like to know more about different cultures, you can use the HSE's Intercultural Guide and the Understand Me app available on the HSE Social Inclusion website. 7. Empathy. You can do this by actively listening to what they are telling you, giving space and time for the person to explain issues. This enhances empathy and understanding. Social talk. This is important to build rapport and give someone a sense of belonging. 8. Planning. This is why a partnership approach can be so helpful. It is important to give your service user the opportunity to highlight barriers which may get in the way of their best outcome so that you can adjust your planning accordingly. Remember, the people sitting in front of you very likely have a completely different set of experiences and are facing barriers that you may not have even considered. So make sure to listen and clarify the plans made are realistically achievable for the person. 9. Supports. Offer culturally sensitive and appropriate supports where available and relevant. For example, translated information or offering people a choice of male or female translators or other practitioners where possible. 10. Follow-up. If appointments are missed, they should be followed up. Where possible, offer a check-in or follow-on call to see how the person is doing. With all the additional barriers to care people are facing, it can be very easy to fall through the cracks and stop engaging with services. Knowing this, it is important to follow up and check in with your service users. That was 10 different ways to engage with asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants and ensure that you have a culturally competent workplace. Thank you for watching, and remember that going the extra mile can really make the world of difference to somebody.